The first page I put together was this yellow sheet. The reason I looked at it, it appeared to me that one of the reasons they think the Fox Lake and Alto ought to be closed is because they came up with some numbers that said it costs over $12,000 to operate Fox Lake Elementary School per student and over $8,000 per student to operate Alto School. Well, I looked at the numbers a little differently. I put those numbers together and multiplied them by the number of students at those buildings. If you take their numbers, the $12,100 or $363 at Fox Lake and the $8,142 at Alto, the total cost, according to them, if we use a per pupil cost to operate those two buildings, is over $1,900,000. And I took that $1,900,000 and divided it by their budget. Their budget is like over $23 million for this year. If you use their numbers, the $1,900,000 divided by 23 million is 8.3%. 8.3% of their budget, according to their numbers, is used to operate those two buildings. And in those two buildings are 9.6% of the kids. It seems to be a pretty efficient operation for me if you're operating at 8.3% and you're educating 9.6% of the kids. I know that, you know, I use the numbers a different way. Maybe that's not accurate, but I don't think their numbers are accurate either. The other problem I have, if you look at that $1,900,000, in one statement, the administrator says it cost us $1,900,000, almost $2 million to operate those two schools. But in another article, he points out that if we close the two buildings, we're going to save less than $500,000. An inconsistency that doesn't make any sense to me. That's the yellow sheet. The other two sheets I prepared, and I'm not going to go into all these numbers, is this green one and this yellow one. At the meeting we had here a week and a half ago, I think that's when it was, they handed out a document, and the back page of that document was a one page that said the tax impact summary, listed the rates that the taxes would increase on a $100,000 house, and it also had a base as to where they started from. If you look at the base numbers, it's like, and that shows up at the top of this yellow page. The top line there is what the tax levy would be in the 4 years we're talking about. And I was able to carry those out. It looks like they used 3% to increase the tax levy over the next 3 years, if there were no referendum. That's how they got the rates that were published in that document. And then they determined the rates if all of these different questions were passed. It works out fine for the first year, 2009 and 2010. But the next 2 years, 2010 and 11 and 2011-12, if the property value is only a 3% increase, they can't collect the money they talk about collecting. In order to collect the money they want to collect based on the rate they presented, property values would have to go up 26%. Now I think 3% is an optimistic number to say the property values are going to go up. 26% is never going to happen. So the back of this green page, I put together numbers just using their 3% increase and what the rate would have to be if the property values went up 3%. And there's a difference in each one of these questions. The first question is for $4 million. They say it's going to go up $336.36 over the 3-year period. To raise the money they need, it's really going to go up $383.35. So I put that together for each of the 3 questions and all the combinations that the administrator had in the paper the other day. At the bottom, the last one there is if the $4,900,000 would pass. The claim is that it's going to cost $409 on a $100,000 house over 3 years. my numbers show it's gonna cost over $470. So there's, a 20% change already there. I don't know where they got the rates from, and not saying they're, giving us misinformation. I think was probably an error, but they certainly aren't checking numbers there, and if they're not checking that, which is one of the most important things, what else is not being checked? I can try and answer questions on all these numbers. I'll be available.
Yeah, that's the quickest Ed's ever been. We were in a lot of meetings together. He was usually hawking my budget.